welcome back. We have a new entrepreneur here, Romain Kirchoff from Uzufly. So, could you tell us a bit more about you, Romain, about your pathway and your startup in 3 words?
Yeah, so I'm Romain Kirchhoff. I did EPFL, the Bachelor in Civil Engineering and the Master in Management of Technology. Then I joined a venture capital firm to do my master thesis on the drone industry. And then I joined a startup for 2.5 years in London to do topographic surveys of infrastructure assets. And that's where I've kind of grasped the potential of the digital twins, and I came back to Switzerland to fund Uzufly.
How many people are you right now?
When we started, I was alone. I was looking for a co-founder that I found after a few months, and now we are a team of 7.
Okay, and maybe could you tell our audience what do you do to form a good team, to solve conflicts? How does it go?
Yeah, and I believe that's the most important thing into creating a startup is how to find the right people. And I think what you need to look for in people is the passion, the curiosity. In the interview, try to ask as many why as possible to try to understand what drives the person to do something. And sometimes we fail, sometimes we win. And that's how also I found my co-founder afterwards.
Could you tell us a bit more about how did you find the niche, and more precisely how would you advise future entrepreneurs who are watching us how to look for a niche, how to know that your product will be in high demand?
I think that something interesting to know is that clients, they don't care about your product. They care about how you make their life easier. And the best way to know if there is a need for your product or service is to ask the market. So you can be in your lab doing as many assumptions, that's almost worthless. You should go to the market, ask questions, and that's like the best way.
Okay, we have a specific question to you, to your academical background.
Yeah.
Because you chose Master in Technology Entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
Management Technology Entrepreneurship. And many people actually hesitate whether to, so before you did civil engineering, whether to, for example, continue Master in Civil Engineering to get an engineering degree, or to stop here and do a Master in Management Technology and Entrepreneurship. So could you explain your motivation and what you think about this?
Okay. So there's 2 points. The first one is that I was less interested in pursuing civil engineering for the long term, and I was more looking for an entrepreneurship path. So that was like the most relevant master at the time. But for me, what built all the experience for me to create Uzufly was actually to work both in the venture capital, but specifically in an early stage startup in London for 2.5 years, because for 2.5 years, I've seen a team grow from 2 people to 50 people, and also all the bad experience. You learn a lot during the bad experience. But use your time at EPFL to do a lot of stuff outside. For example, I was selling insurance. That's the less sexy job, but it's really important to know how to sell something to someone. So try to look for stuff that you are passionate about and try to pursue them.
But did your Bachelor in Civil Engineering actually bring to you some technological knowledge that you used in your startup later, or not really?
I would say not really. What I've learned to create all that we do right now at Uzufly was mainly something that I learned on the spot during the previous startup for the 2.5 years in London.
Okay, but the Bachelor still brought to you something, for example, it learned you to use your brain probably, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. For me, EPFL, how I would summarize it, it's a way to learn how to learn. So if there is something you don't know, you know that you can always find a way to have the answer that you want. So it's more about being creative and efficient into finding a solution for a problem, because you will have many problems when you start your own startup.
Thank you, that is quite clear. Did EPFL provide any assistance to your startup? How did it help you?
Yes, we've been able to be at the La Forge, so a co-working space, for 1 year for free. So that's already something quite useful. And then it was still us that had to do the work, but to create collaboration with different laboratories. So we work with 4 different laboratories at EPFL that have a link with the urban development, and that's very useful.
Thank you. And final big question, based on your experience, how do you see the future? The future mainly of technologies, of innovations. In what domains will there be the most innovations?
So I will try to focus only on our expertise. Our vision is to standardize the use of digital twin for urban development. So in the future of urban development, we see a Google Earth on steroid, basically what we're building, but in which architects then can directly design their own buildings and show that to the neighborhood, to the local stakeholders, and so on. Like the Google Earth will always be as accurate to be a technical tool.
Do you imagine any other new trends that will appear in this industry, or like that could help architects?
Like everything related to AI, so generative design, like everything that is under like low descriptions. Like for example, a new construction plot, there's tons of flows. Basically, you can feed that into an algorithm and assess like what's the potential value return on investment over the entire city of Geneva. Where can you start building? How big the project can be. So I think in terms of AI, there is a lot to be done, and that will be quite important.
Now we'll go to quick questions. To you, what is the main human quality in an entrepreneur? The first thing that comes.
I would say listening to both the client and also to the people within your team, because you can do the best startup if you want, but if you don't have a good atmosphere, if you don't have fun within your team, that's worthless. So try to be open to what other people say.
One thing you changed to your lifestyle to become a successful entrepreneur, or that helped you?
I would say discipline, but it's still something tough. But for example, waking up like earlier at 6:30 at the moment and be in the office early so that I can focus on my work and I'm not disturbed by other people.
Is there a book that you would recommend?
Yeah, one book that I read was about the creation of Netflix by the first founder. It was That Will Never Work. And I think it's a nice way to put that when you start something, even your close family will say that will never work, but somehow you need to believe in it to make it happen and to prove them wrong.
Finally, is your business a hobby for you or a job?
I say both because it's more about unlocking a potential that I see, and I don't see other ways to make that happen. So that's something I'm passionate about, so I don't feel as a job in that sense. It's fun. But you also need to consider finances, a business model, how to bring employees, how to make sure that they will get their salaries. So you still need to balance all the department in that big company within a startup. So that needs a little bit of job.
Thank you very much, Romain Kirchhoff, Uzufly. Follow his social media, follow his project, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.